Hi, I'm following along with Paul McCorder's Raspberry Pi PicoW lessons. We're on number 112 and we're continuing our investigation of UDP server clients. So last week we were lighting up LEDs and Paul showed us on 112 how he would do it. And um, the his homework was to come up with something different to show how you can use the client server uh, relationship and send some stuff to the Pico. So I thought about it for a little bit, and I remembered that about 6 months ago I purchased one of these little 8 by 32 flexible PCBs with 256 Neopixels on it, and got it for $8. It was an impulse buy. I said, "Wow, that's a lot of Neopixels for $8." So I went ahead and bought it. Um, the only thing I did with it when I got it 6 months ago was tested each pixel out one at a time. Because 256 pixels, that was going to draw a lot of power. So it has this way of powering it, and that's what I did for when I for the display I'm going to show you today. But you have an input and then you have an output, so you could actually string multiple ones of these together if you wanted to. But anyhow, that's what I decided to use, and so let's get to my homework. We'll bring up the code, and here's my client from the this is the server software code, but I got the client running off of the Visual Studio Code back there, and this is my window from that. I have it up and running, and I think I'll do a show and tell, and then I'll get into the description. So if you don't want to sit through the whole thing, you'll see the show and tell anyhow. So we're coming up and we're just having a input box that where you can put whatever text you want, and then you can pick a color. Right now I got cyan going, but let's pick a different color. Maybe, oh, let's just do red, I guess. That will go red. And I'll hit send. And you can see down here that that it's sent over to the server that it wants red. We got blue that was or cyan that was already on there, and it's going to finish that color scrolling, and that's what we got. And it's going to start over, should start over with the red. Yep. So it says Paul McCorders most excellent lesson 112, and then it's just going to repeat again in that same color until you change it or give it a different saying. So let's just we'll put something else in the combo box instead of that. So um well, yeah, and so let's just put we'll do our hello world exclamation. And let's change that to white. It's probably going to overpower the camera, but we'll just do it just show that we can do it. So we still have it going. You can see that I put it, that the new message and the color ended up down there. So like you say, it's going to finish the one that it's on. And hopefully this doesn't overpower the camera. I'm sure it will. Yes, it would. But it says, hello, world. And it's just going to keep repeating that over and over again. Yeah, it really overpowered it. I got it down at like 2% brightness. Uh, that's one thing about the uh, I got my power meter on the uh, input to the power side of the uh, strip, and I said, "Oh, let me crank it up to like 0.3 brightness, so it's like 30% brightness." And I got it plugged into a 3 amp USB, and it took almost 2.9 amps of that. I said, "Oh my gosh, I'd never get up to one on it." That was making the whole sheet white, and it would, you're not using that much right now. I can't see what we're using. I think we're using only about 200 milliamps with just the ones that we got. Even using white, we're only using about, but we're at, like I say, 0.22% instead of 30% power. So you can see that you probably don't want it a whole lot brighter than that. So that's my demonstration, and if that's all you're interested in, thanks for watching. But if you want to look at the code, I'm going to get into the code right now. So I had some challenges doing this. Like I said, you just can't use a regular Neopixel library for that, but I did find this Neopixel matrix library. You have a regular Neopixel matrix and a async Neopixel matrix, and you have to download both files if you want to use the async. Um, uh, because you need the async if you're going to do anything else. And since we wanted to look at what to get things from the server, we had to definitely use the async version of this. So let's start going through the code a little bit. Like I say, you had to have the async IO because we're using it in our main code, plus the library, network and socket, and time and pin, and of course, Raspberry Pi. I'm not sure I needed that. I'm not brought that in probably with the library, with the NeoPixel matrix library. Okay, so when I'm getting the color over here, I'm getting a text version of white, red, or whatever color. So I'm using dictionary to get to do the tuples of what each color is. So white's 255, 255, 255, and all the other ones are just same. So that's how I'm bringing over the color and setting the tuple that we needed for the NeoPixels. Like I say, the message is starting out with a empty string. Onboard LED, a lot of this, once we get down there, that's all part of the server thing that we did. And we'll skip that when we get to it because I explained it in the last video. But we have our NeoPixel matrix here that we're creating. We put our pin, the width, the height, and the brightness. Like I say, I got it at 2% right now. And like I said, we're starting off and everything. But then this is the regular network code, and I'm just toggling it after I get connected so that uh, well, this is toggling it while it's trying to connect, and then this is toggling it after it's connected a lot slower. This is a fast blink, is a slow blink. Um, but like I said, we're using async IO, and so we also needed uh, async IO. We need a non-blocking way to do our socket and get our stuff. So to do that, we normally down here where we're doing our receive from, this is a blocking thing here. Normally, the way Paul showed it the first time, but you can make it non-blocking by putting set blocking to false. Um, but what happens then is if it reads this and if there's no data to receive, it actually throws an error, an OS error. And so we have to put this in a try and accept. And we don't care about the error. We know that we're expecting data and it didn't come. So we're just passing out of that. And that way we can do our await thing down here. So the await is what you need to pass to allow the other parts of your code to do it. It does a sleep, but while it's sleeping, it allows other parts of the code to run. So you need this await in every one of your async functions that you have. So that's the one that we have there. So let's go back up. I think we pretty much covered this. Yeah, this is setting on blocking, and then this is basically setting up the when the server gets ready, it'll blink 5 times and we're good. So yeah. Uh, so then you come down and you have your async functions. So you have to have each one of your functions. This one's for the Neopixel scrolling the text, and this one's for keeping track of our server. And then you have what you call the main down here, and then finally this is the one that runs it, and it just tells it to run this main, and this is you put your async functions that you want to control in a tuple, and we called it T, and then you use this await async IO gather, and what that does is start each one of these functions one right after the other, and allows them to, continue to work interactively, allowing each one to have its own time on the list. So and the Neo Matrix thing here is it's just scroll, it's your message and your color from my T color dictionary. I'll show you where I get my TC from and our message from a little bit further down, but you're just, setting up the scroll basically on that. Uh, so got that going. And then on the server side, it's almost the same as the blinking, but we're bringing in two pieces of data. We're bringing in our message and we're bringing in our color. So what I did on the client side is I combined those with a tilde in the middle, with separating them. Uh, a lot of times you separate on a space, but all your message is going to have a lot of spaces in it, and probably. And so I figured a tilde character would be one that you're probably not going to use very often. So it's probably best not to put a tilde in your message that you want to send, or probably mess it up. But what that does is it allows it, since we're combining it all into one string in the other code, in the client code, we're going to separate it here with a split and get a message and the color, uh, text color, TC text color, that we're going to use up here in our message. So every time this gets updated, it's going to do this here, and it's going to finish the whole scroll. But it's next time it does the scroll, it's going to next time it goes through the loop here, it's going to have the new message and color updated there. So got that going on. Let's see. That's basically, and then we're just sending just the message back to the I I don't think I changed this. We're just sending the message back to the client. So anyhow, and then like I said, that's pretty much it. All we had to do on that side. Um, yeah, that's pretty good there. So let's go on the other side. And this is the client. And like I said, I'm not using the PicoQ or QT. I'm using the free simple GUI that I know and love, and using that to set up our window that we're using. So, so move error, screen management. There we go. So, like I said, I might have mentioned that have the bright colors here. With free simple GUI, you can have different themes by doing this by just this one line of code, and this one just happens to be called bright colors, and they're very bright colors on there. So we setting up our layout. Like I said, it's a list of lists. Each list is a line. So we only have this message up here on the text message on the first line. And then the second line is in the second list inside here. And just the input, and it has the length of it in characters, and it has a key. So that's all that has. And then the combo box is this one here. And if you notice the combo box, even though it breaks line break there, the list doesn't end until down here. So all three of these are on the same line. So uh, we have a send button and we have an exit button. And then, but our combo box, like I said, we could define this list somewhere else, but it was just easy just to define it right in here. So I define our 7 colors and then give it a default value of red, just because you need to send the color when you send it, and has the key of combo box, so that we can recognize when our data that's coming, our values that come out of there, which one of these is selected at the current time. So yeah, that's all that part of it. That's setting up our window, and then just you just pass my client and layout that we want to use, and that my client is the title and layout is the just sets it up. So this section of code here is all you need to create your window. Now, like I said, this is we use the events and free simple GUI. So every time you click a button, um, I have it only set up. You can also make these event driven, like when it changes or something, you could set up a event when that happens, or you could set up an event when you pick a different color. But you don't, in this case, I didn't need to, because the only time I'm interested in the changed values is when I hit the send button. And then once you hit the send button, you're going to get all the values from that whole window are going to be shown in this value. When the event happens, you'll get all your values, not just the send value, but you'll get what value this is and what value that is based on the key that you have. So it's pretty simple to do this. So the first thing we're doing was we're checking, uh, we're just waiting for our an event to happen. Like I said, this is blocking as well, but we don't care in this. And then if we're getting a when close, which is the X, or we're getting the exit button press, then it's just going to break out of it and close everything down and close the window at the end. But otherwise, the only other thing we're looking for is the send button to get clicked. So if the event is the send button, remember buttons, if you don't give them a special key, it's whatever the text is. So since it says send here, that's what you're checking for, the event. And when the event happens, what we're doing, here's where we combine the values of the message. That would be the values of the message of that input box. And then I'm just concatenating it with a tilde and concatenating it with the values of whatever the color is that's here. So right now this is going to say hello world tilde white. So that's what that's going to say. And then we're just sending that message block string that we created, and we're going to receive back whatever the server sends us, decode it, and we're going to print it out. And well, this is actually message block. I think I was just doing some error correcting or testing there, and we're just printing the message down there. But anyhow, yeah, that's what we got. All right, so that's mainly what we got going on. I guess I should leave you with a different color here. Oh, I did want to show you about how to do this. So like I said, we got these bright colors that we got, and we want to show you how to change. So I have to close this because we can only run one program at a time. But Free Simple GUI gives you this cool way that if you, it's called a theme viewer, and this is a list of all the built-in themes that it has. I don't know how many is on the screen, but there's quite a bit. So if you pick one that you like and you pick it out, and you can do it. Let's see, I like his light green 5. So let's close this, and all you have to do is change that theme and it'll should change it. So I'm closing that, and we'll go back here and back up here and call it light green 5. And this should be the only thing we have to change, and we should be able to rerun this. And that's how quick it is to change what your thing is. And it should still be hooked up to the server. Yeah, so let's do that. So we'll do a good goodbye. And let's see what color. Well, we'll leave it red. We haven't done a red yet, I don't think, today. So we'll turn the light off. So it's saying hello world. I'm gonna let that go one more time. All right. And then I'm gonna send it. I'm saying it sent it and received it back. So next time through, it should say goodbye in red. And it'll keep repeating that. All right. So thanks for watching. Appreciate everybody. Thanks, Paul, for all you do. Have a great day, everybody.